Hello friends, welcome back. In this session we are going to learn about Lombok library. So what is Lombok? What are its uses? How we can leverage this library in the Spring Boot application. Okay. So these are the things which we are going to discuss it today. So let's go ahead. So basically Lombok is a Java library that is used to minimize the boilerplate code and thereby it saves the development time. Okay. So it reduces the development time. So basically with the help of few Lombok annotations, what Lombok does is it generates the getter, setters, toStrings and equals and hash methods. Okay, but we have the feature of generating getters and setters, toString method on equals and hash method in IDE as well with the help of few commands. Okay, so in both IntelliJ as well as Eclipse we can generate the getters and setters, but the difference between IDE and the Lombok is that IDE generates getters and setters method in the Java file that is in the source code, but Lombok generates it in the dot class file. Okay, so thereby Lombok helps us in keeping our Java files clean. Okay, so let's go ahead and I will show you how to install the Lombok plugin in the IntelliJ IDE, and then finally we will have a look at the Lombok demo application. So I will be using Lombok library in a Spring Boot application to demonstrate its use. Okay, so let's go ahead. So basically what I have done is using the spring as usual. I'm using the Spring initializer. Okay, I'm using Spring initializer to generate the project. I'm selecting the Gradle project and then I'm giving all these details. Okay, and then finally I'm selecting all these dependencies like Spring Web, Lombok library. I'm using H2 database. Okay, and then I'm using Spring Data GPA. These are the dependencies which I have added into this Lombok demo, and I will be generating this project. So since I have already generated, I will not be regenerating it again. Okay, so I have already imported this project in the Intellij IDE. Okay, so as I said, like I will be first showing you how to install the Lombok plugin in the Intellij IDE. So what we can do is first go to File, Settings. Okay, so you can look for plugins here. What happened? Okay, it's taking some time to load the plugins. Yes. Okay, so what you do is File, Settings, and then search for plugins here. Okay, so in plugins look for Lombok. Okay, so if you type Lombok you will see this library. I mean basically it's a plugin. So since I have already installed, if you are not installed you will get an option of installing this library. Once you successfully install it will restart the IntelliJ. Okay, so that is the procedure for installing Lombok plugin. So now let me just go to the application. So we have the build Gradle file, which is the uh, uh, build file. Okay, for building this application. So here we have added different dependencies like starter web, Spring Boot starter web, starter JPA, and then we have added the Lombok library, which will be included only during the compile time, and then H2 database we have added that will be included during the runtime, and Lombok, this is extra keyword which has that Lombok implementation. Okay, so these are the different dependencies which we are going to add it for this demo. Okay, so let me just go to the application YML file. Okay, as usual we have specified the specific port here 9005, so our application will run on the 9005 port. and these are the Spring data source properties. Okay. So here we are using h2 database and driver, all these detail, driver class name, username, password, and then what we are doing here is we have an employee.sql file which has some scripts, SQL scripts, which will be executed on every execution of this application. Okay, since it's an in-memory database, what exactly it does is it will execute this SQL file on every execution of this Lombok application. Okay, and then these are the other property, JPA properties. Okay, so let me show you the employee SQL file as well. In this employee SQL file, we have written the queries. We have written the queries like drop table if exist, and then we are creating a table, and then here inserting some data. Okay, so this is the data which I am inserting it. Okay, this is about the application YML and employee SQL file. So let me just show you the source code. Okay, so let me start with the application class. This is just a straightforward Spring Boot application class. There nothing much here. Okay, and then I will show you the Pojo class where I am using the Lombok library. So basically what I have done is here I have created an employee object, employee class, where I am having different properties like ID, first name, last name, and role. And these are the different Lombok annotations. If you observe here, at the rate data. So this at the rate data annotation contains, if you include this annotation, it will generate all the getters, setters, toString, and equals and hash method. Okay, so it will generate all the useful string method, getter, setters, and then hash code and equals method. Okay, so with this annotation it will generate all those things, getter, setters, and all those things, and then no aux constructor. So this is one more again Lombok annotation which just specifies that it I mean it says like no aux, we are defining a no argument constructor, and then with the help of this annotation we are specifying that this class will have all arguments constructed, so we don't have to define the constructor. Okay, with this annotation it will take care of everything, defining all different types of constructor. Okay, so that's all. So here if you observe, we are having only, we are defining just the variable names, but we don't have anything like getter, setters, or anything. So thereby we are keeping this, Lombok is keeping this class clean and readable. Okay, and then it reduces the boilerplate code. Okay, so you don't have to write anything over here. Okay, this is the Pocho class. Basically this is the response object. Okay, and then similarly we are having an employee entity class. This is a DB class, database class, so that's why we are marking it as at the table, table name, and then we are marking it as an entity class. So and then rest of the annotations we are using Lombok annotations. Okay, so here it's an employee entity class which has ID, first name, last name, and these are the different column names that we have defined it here. Okay, so this is all about this employee entity class. So let us go to the controller. Okay, so basically what I have done here is I have defined a simple employee controller, and then I have defined one simple endpoint, get all employees. Okay, exactly what exactly it does is we are trying to get all the employees which you have defined using the employee SQL file. Okay, so when we execute this application, that employee SQL file will get executed and it will insert all the data into the h2 database. It is an in-memory database, and then using this endpoint, REST endpoint, we are reading all those data. Okay, so let's go to service layer. This is the controller layer. This is a controller layer and this is a service layer. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm trying, I have the repository defined here, employee repository, okay, which extends the JPA repository and employee entity. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is here I'm trying to find all the employees. Okay, getting the list of entities, list of employee entities, and after that, using the Java streams, I'm converting this entity object into the list of employee objects. Okay, so earlier what I have done is I have used yeah, I had defined the setters and getters method, and I was setting all this data. But with the help of Lombok library, what we are doing is we are just creating a messaging object, Pojo object, which we are going to return it to the UI as a response to the as a response from the um, as a response from the REST endpoint, and then we are using bin utils. Okay, so which will bin utils copy properties method, so that it copies all the data from the entity employee entity object into the employee Pojo object. Okay, message object basically. So your entity data will be copied into the messaging object, employee messaging object. This way we can easily copy the data from one object to another object. Okay, using this bin utils copy properties method. So after that, what I'm doing, I'm just adding it back to the employee list, that employee object whatever we have created, and then finally we are returning the list of employees. Okay, so we don't need all these methods now, so I can just remove this. Okay, so this is all about the implementation of Lombok in a Spring Boot application. Let me just show you now after executing this. Okay, so application is coming up. Yes, it's up and running now. Okay, it's up and running on the port 9005. So it's running on 9005. Okay, so let me just access that endpoint, REST endpoint here. Okay, so after refresh, you're able to see the data here, right? So these are the data which we are going to get from this REST endpoint, get all employees. Okay, so basically the with the help of this Lombok library, you can reduce the boilerplate code, and then you can keep your Pojo classes clean, okay, and readable. So that's all from my end. I hope you have understood this session. If you like this video, please go ahead and like it, and subscribe to my channel for further videos. Thanks for watching.